Hey, what's going on everyone? Rito here. Today I'm going to take a closer look at the Orochi in For Honor. I will give you a full guide on their moveset, how to use the class effectively, and explain all their strengths and weaknesses. Alright, so let's get into it straight away. The Orochi are the lightly armored, agile samurai. Since they don't do a lot of damage, I don't recommend using this class if you're completely new to the game. However, if you're ready to overcome the somewhat steeper learning curve, you can really become a master of the katana, capable of adapting to any enemy. Let's start off with the moveset. Of course, this class has some basic chain attacks, with R1 being a light attack and R2 being a heavy attack. Something that's good to know is that if you press R1 twice, and if you hit the first attack, then the second light attack is a guaranteed hit as well. So I mainly use that light attack myself. Also, because you can often interrupt the attack of your opponent, which prevents you from getting hit. And that's the first thing that's really important with this class. Don't get too greedy on dealing damage, but focus on your opponent's moves, and use these moves to your advantage. So the first special move I want to discuss is the Storm Rush. To do this, you have to move backwards with your left analog stick. Press X and then hold R2. Once you release R2, you rush towards your enemy and slice from left to right. Now what you shouldn't do with this move is just rush at the enemy when he's waiting for you. He'll have plenty of time to block or dodge the attack, leaving you very vulnerable. However, there are two very useful ways to use this move. The first is by baiting the enemy. Let him get closer, and when you see that he's about to attack, dodge by jumping backwards and immediately use the Storm Rush, since he won't be able to block it. You can even get some extra hits after that. The other useful way to use it is by simply rushing forward, but when you're about to do the slice attack, cancel the move with the circle button and then follow up with a guard break or a different attack. The opponent will be focused on blocking his side, leaving him vulnerable to other moves. Make sure though that you don't cancel too early, otherwise the distance to your enemy will be too big for a guard break. If used correctly, it will go something like this. Next up is the Deflect ability. To use this, you have to activate your guard just before the enemy hits you. So you have to go from a neutral stance to a directed guard just before impact. This works best in a chaotic situation, where the enemy does not expect you to guard and deflect. If you wait too passively, the enemy can simply use a guard break, so you really need that element of surprise. If you do get the deflection right, you can follow up with a Wind Gust attack by pressing R1, or a Hurricane Blast by pressing R2. The R1 attack is a quick way to deal some damage, since the first attack after deflecting is a guaranteed hit. Note though that the second attack can be blocked or deflected, so be careful when using a chain attack. The R2 attack can deal massive damage, but it can be interrupted or dodged, so you have to use it with caution. Still, the Deflect ability is a very powerful tool that can really flip the momentum of a fight. Next up is the Zephyr Slash. To use this, move either left, right or forward with the left analog stick, press X and then press R1. This is quite an interesting move, not because of the damage, but because it combines a dodge with an attack. The sideways Zephyr Slash works very well if your opponent tries to attack from above or if he tries to use a guard break. You first dodge left or right, and during your dodge you immediately swing for an attack. This way, not only do you prevent taking damage, but you also get a guaranteed hit. Then there's the Riptide Strike. This one is a little bit trickier to use, but can deal quite some damage. If your opponent attacks, move backwards with your left analog stick, aim forward with your right analog stick, and then press R2. I don't recommend using this too often though, since it can go wrong fairly easily. However, if you feel like you can time it correctly, and you actually pull it off, then it does quite a lot of damage. Lastly, there is the Crashing Wave attack. I have never used this one myself, but it is a sprinting attack. While sprinting, press L3, so your left analog stick, and then press R2. Really, I doubt this will be helpful in a 1v1 duel, but you can surely give it a try. These were all the different moves, now onto some tactics. The Orochi class is best used in a more reactive role. If you can bait your opponent into attacking and you can dodge or deflect those attacks, then you have a good opportunity to deal some damage. You have to feel the battle and read your opponent, learn his weaknesses and exploit them. Does he react slowly or attack too aggressively? Find out how he plays and what the best response to that playstyle is. The most important thing, which actually holds for any character, is that you have to be unpredictable yourself. That is why you really have to know how to use each move, what they all do and when to use them. If you keep repeating the same actions over and over again, your opponent will have an easy time countering your moves. But if he has to keep guessing what you'll do next, you'll make it a lot harder for him. This is also where an unconventional tactic comes into play, that I found quite helpful from time to time. If you see that your opponent is a bit better than you are, try throwing him off by playing without locking onto him. You won't get to use all your nice special moves, but most opponents really don't know how to counter this. Okay, so how does it work? First of all, you have to manage the camera yourself with the right analog stick, so that it stays focused on your opponent. Then, play it as if you're playing Dark Souls. You have to roll around as much as you can to dodge the opponent, since you can't actually block his attack. Then, roll towards him. Go for an R1 light attack combo and roll away again. Since you're not locked on, your opponent won't see if or how you're attacking him until it's usually too late. He'll have a difficult time blocking your attacks. Plus, he's often just confused by what you're doing. The hard part of this is that you manually have to control the camera, while simultaneously dodging and getting within range. You can't really guarantee that your attacks are in the right direction, so you'll just have to do it intuitively. Now honestly, this isn't the most fun way to fight, but it can be very effective, since your opponent usually won't see it coming or know how to deal with it appropriately. Be careful for his attacks though, since you can't block them. Anyway, this was all I got for the Orochi class for now. There is so much more to learn, but for now, just try to master all his moves and really get the hang of when to use and not to use a specific attack. Don't be too greedy on dealing damage, but also don't play too passively. Mix up your attacks, mix up your playstyle, and the enemy won't know how to deal with you. Master the katana and seize victory. Now this is going to be the end of the commentary. I hope you learned something useful, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you all very much for watching. I am Rito, and I wish you all a very good day.